this budget agenda amendment. And it raises a number of hairy problems. Like cats. And one thing you'll notice about budgets is that we like to emphasize the good while downplaying the bad. And similarly, I think we can all notice that the national media only announces when the president gets a dog, not when he gets a cat. So can we not draw a sensible conclusion from this? I think we can. My conclusion is this. As I do every year during budget season, we have to prepare ourselves, regardless of the budgetary considerations today, for the season in which I routinely implore the commissioners not to spend city money on vacations. And this year, I think we can all agree that I pointed out the need to deal with the cat problem. And the $20,000 budget being spent on the commissioner, essentially vacations, would be better spent on getting the cats out of town than on 2 trips to Boston. And to particularly highlight this, Boston is the League of Cities. Pay attention.
Quiet, please, in the chambers.
To emphasize this point, drive this home, a recent story from my hometown, Detroit. The lead headline is, "Big Cat has Detroit area residents on alert." According to reports, many residents on the city's northeast side have seen what appears to be an exotic cat, perhaps as tall as 4 feet, roaming the streets. Here's a quote from Antoine Asbury. "I was like, what the expletive? I don't know what it is. I just want it gone. He walked like he ain't scared of nothing. This thing is out here, bro." And so, in summation, I am not particularly for or against these budgetary changes, but I am against more cats.
You're gonna have to keep your cats to public participation in non-agenda items because the threat on the agenda items is just too limited, Mr. Sachs. All right, who's up next? Anyone? Ms. Sharp?
How do you feel about cats?
I love them. I don't have one, but I love them. Loretta Sharp, 1311 South Conway. So I'm going to tell a story about this hometown.
Does that have to do with the budget?
No, it's this year's budget.
Okay, this is a budget conversation.
This is budget.
Okay.
Okay. I think I told you about this woman who lived on Lucerne, who sold her house because code drove her out about 7 or 8 years ago. And then she came back and she bought a house on K Street because the values went down so low that she couldn't resist it. Well, she went home to Buffalo and she went to the doctor and she had cancer. And she called me up in a panic and said, "Loretta, I'm going to be a year with surgery and a year with radiation and a year with chemotherapy. You've got to sell a house. I'm not going to be able to live in it." So I said, "Okay, Dawn, I'll sell the house. It's 424 South North K Street, in case anybody's interested." She paid $38,000 for it about 1 year ago. It will close Thursday at $68,000. So property is looking better in Lake Worth. I think that we probably can amend the budget one more time before we run out of this year. The guy that bought it is from Jessup, Georgia. He lives in Jessup, Georgia, but he's going to live in this 1-bedroom cottage on 424 North K Street. And he said, "I can walk downtown, and I can have all the drinks I want, and then I can walk home and I'll never get a DUI." So it went from one homeowner that was going to live there to another homeowner that was going to live there. And she's had her surgery, and she's doing very well. Thank you.
Thank goodness. We've got a motion on the floor in a second. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Item 12C, City Attorney, would you read the ordinance, please?
Ordinance number 2013-46, the City of Lakewood, Florida, amending Chapter 2, Administration, Article 19, Chronic Nuisance Property.
Thank you, Mr. Carr.
Property Code Division 1, Chronic Nuisance Services of the Code of Ordinances, grade Section 2-212, unattended drop-off collection bins, providing for severability, providing for repeal of conflicting ordinances, providing for computation, providing an effective date.
So moved. Second.
Second. Any comments?
Yes, there are.
Okay, we've had if you read the background that was provided online, in 2013, Palm Beach County adopted an ordinance prohibiting unattended drop-off collection bins, such as for clothing in the unincorporated areas. Prohibition may now cause municipal areas to be targets for this very lucrative unattended bins that many of you see. Especially there's a lot of bins going up all over. You turn over an empty lot one day and then there's a bin on it the next, and they're kind of popping up quite frequently. So Marvin Tank, you are up first, followed by Dustin Zacks. If there's a cat in that comment, you're dead.
Honorable Mayor, Commissioners, thank you for the opportunity to come before you. My name is Marvin Tank. I'm the President and CEO of Austrian Goodwill Industries. As you all know, Goodwill and a lot of other human service agencies rely on donations from the generous public, our neighbors, to support their human service programs. We may not own our property, we're tax exempt, but we may not own our property, but we pay property taxes in the municipalities we are through our rents. We provide training, job skills, abuse services, a variety of human services needs through the generation of those dollars that we make in our thrift store system through those donations. The unattended boxes are a very deceiving way of collecting goods, diverting them from legitimate not-for-profit organizations in our community. If you look at a box, you can't discern if it is a legitimate. I know in our county there are no legitimate human service agencies that collect donations and sell them in their thrift stores that have unattended donation boxes. So these are profiteers that prey on the good intentions of our neighbors to divert those donations that can help our citizens. We all employ people in our communities. Those people earn paychecks. They spend their dollars locally. These dollars in the unattended donation boxes lead not only our cities, our county, but also our state. So I support this ordinance and commend you for taking the leadership in this issue. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Dustin Zacks, followed by Loretta Sharp. Hey,
No cat box.
Mayor, did you say Dustin Zacks or Dustin Katz?
cats.
216 North Federal Highway. I was pondering this item before today's meeting. If you remember the old movie, Mr. Deeds with Gary Cooper, not the Adam Sandler one, the previous one. He played the tuba to help himself think. So I was pondering this agenda item before today's meeting, playing my accordion, which I got myself for my 30th birthday. And do you know what I was playing to help myself think about this agenda item?
The theme from Cats.
The theme from Cats, the musical Cats. So one offshoot of this item that I thought is the second level effect is it could discourage the populace from giving their secondhand and third-hand things to people who need them. Now, if there really aren't any worthy nonprofits who have these boxes, that's fine. I can tell you from personal experience, I have given away some stuff. I think it's the World Thrift who has one of these boxes up on Dixie. Probably wouldn't have done that, probably just would have thrown it out if the box wasn't there. Second part of this is, I'm not personally aware that there has been a huge problem with this, such that we do need to change it. The way that the backup is written makes it appear that we have this influx of boxes kind of flood our city because of continuity of ordinance. Nonetheless, since there are these receptacles anyway, I think the talk naturally flows to another possible solution to our cat problem. Just as we have drop-off bins for things like secondhand clothes, we could have drop-off bins for cats and cat pickup. Here, somebody else want them? Take them. So, in summation, we may keep the receptacles, but we should make them humane cat traps to help eliminate the cat menace. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Sharp, followed by Mr. Rice.
Did you notice the accent of Mr. Marvin Tank? No? That he's not practicing enough. He must say every morning, he must say pot, the car, in the pot. And he'll never use that accent. I can't think of a firm better than Goodwill that helps more people than Goodwill does. I've worked with Goodwill in Maine and I've worked with Goodwill here. And to allow somebody to just stick a box anywhere they want to stick a box and make believe that they're doing something good, it to me is atrocious. And I am so glad that this has come up on the agenda, and I'm so glad that 5 of you are going to vote for it. All of you are going to vote for this, and I thank you very much, because Goodwill does do a lot of goodwill in this community. Thank you.
Thank you. Greg Rice, followed by Nadine Burns.
It's me again, Greg Rice. Hello, sir. interesting discussion tonight. I'm sure there's visitors that are here tonight that's saying, boy, those folks in Lake Worth, in addition to having civil discourse or whatever, kind of figured out, we also know how to put on a pretty entertaining public comment section. But anyhow, let me tell you a little story. Dustin was telling some good stories tonight. My office is out on Okeechobee Boulevard, west of the Turnpike. And typically, at least 3 out of 5 mornings a week, I go through the drive-thru of one of the restaurants that's out there on the corner of Jog and Okeechobee. And I do this, I've done this every morning since we built the office out there in 2004. And as we all know, the counties had this problem long before the cities have. And I'll tell you exactly what I personally observed. One of those unattended donation boxes that appeared out there on one of the little access streets right out there beside this fast food restaurant and a couple of other fast food restaurants that were fed by that same little service road. And the next thing you know, and like I said, I'm there 3 out of 5 days a week, right next to it or just down from it was another one. And another one. It's almost the same theory that happens when you have a rogue garbage pile. And everybody else just kind of feeds it, even though it starts out being a little small pile. That's what I witnessed firsthand with some of these unattended boxes right out there, just half a mile from my office. And I saw this happen over a period of time, and it was kind of disturbing. We need to try to nip it in the bud right now, and not to disappoint Dustin. In real estate, there's a term, highest and best use. Maybe we could donate those that are already here and placed there illegally, probably, to one of these causes that these groups that go out and feed these feral cats. They can make them cat houses, I know, in Lake Worth. In Lake Worth, we're trying to shelter ourselves with those kind of images, but they can donate them to those groups. They can make them cat houses. I know when visiting some friends at JFK Hospital, there's groups that feed them right across the street from the hospital. So please, let's try to get rid of the problem.
Thank you. Nadine Burns?
Nadine Burns, 1424 North L Street, and I'm so supportive of this. This has bothered me for a long time. Not only the blue boxes that have proliferated everywhere in the city, but even the one up at World Thrift, which they advertise, it's a veterans group, veterans org. It overflows, it looks unsightly. They will come and collect from your door. Does it get any easier than that? That's your bent to support the vets, and that should happen, but I think it just contributes to the slum and blight that exists in areas, and I think the city is going to look tremendously better. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Amoroso?
Yeah, this was one call that I get on a weekly basis about the boxes. One big thing with the boxes is people coming up to the boxes and not making donations, but trying to get stuff out of them. And they're in neighborhoods. The only question, I don't know if Jamie's in the other room, but my question is for staff, because when I addressed this with Code, Code said, it's really Public Works, and I need to kind of know where the clarity as we're moving forward, because as we put this in motion, what's the policy moving forward? Because when Code said we don't really know who owns them, and I said, send Public Works out and pick that blue box up, somebody will come looking for it. So we'll find out who owns it, and then we can find them. So I just need to know, as we move forward with this, what the process is about removing these blue boxes. By moving this forward, Mr. Attorney, can we go legally and just remove the blue boxes? Because they're not on city property, they're actually on other pieces of property, and what we found out was that, most of the time, the other pieces of property don't know they exist there, they've just been dropped.
Yes, after due process.
We have to stick them.
Right, and that's those ordinances that you just voted on over the last several weeks, where this whole nuisance process. So someone will get a citation or a notice, they don't respond. After so many days, there's a hearing, the magistrate gives the order, you can abate this nuisance by whether it's mowing the grass, board and secure, or removing these boxes.
Okay.
I've been having dreams of putting that big sticker over the opening
And then at that point, we would remove the boxes.
after a period of time, giving
Okay.
them a
And
notice.
and we would assess the
You would
owner.
hope that they would come and, they'll probably pick them up.
Okay.
They do have an investment in those.
And they have just been appearing on,
Yeah, the
and
blue
usually
ones.
mostly empty lots.
Yeah.
That have,
So they're not,
abandoned
if
lots.
they were in the
that's
public
what they're
right
showing
of way,
us.
we'd have a little easier time taking them, but they're on private properties.
Vice Mayor?
No, they do.
So here's the interesting question. How do we actually track down the owner of the box? if there's a website and phone numbers on the box, which I've actually tried to repeat.
So that's good service then, Glenn. With
Well,
that information.
we'll serve them certainly by posting right on the box itself.
On the box.
And then we'll try to do the certified mail to the address that's on the website.
Okay.
Got a motion on the floor and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
That's to make up for the parking ordinance.